Obligation is the death of passion. And that's what I want to talk about today. I don't have a script for this one, so I'm just going to see how few takes I can get this done in. So recently I've been in a bit of a creative rut. I'm not really sure what I want to do with my skills and my talents, and it's been bothering me quite a bit. And it got me thinking about how it seems like more than ever there's a huge pressure on being able to commodify what you create. And I think a lot of that pressure is the reason that creation feels like obligation, and it can be really hard to enjoy the things that you do when you're always doing them with an outcome in mind. So now that you hopefully understand the premise of what I'm trying to get at, I want to follow it up with an anecdote, and I think it exemplifies it perfectly. So for the vast majority of my life, since I was about 16, when I picked up the guitar, I wanted to be in a band. And a lot of my time spent throughout high school and just out of high school was solely focused on becoming a better guitar player and becoming a better band member. And I was with the same group of guys for what ended up being close to 10 years. Playing music, not under the same band the entire time, but me and two other guys carried through all of the projects. So in total we'd been playing together for 10 years, and the final iteration of our band lasted about, I think it was 6. And when I say that this band was all I did, I truly mean it. My whole identity centered around this band for the longest time, and it felt like inevitable eventually something was going to happen, and it did. We ended up getting a little bit of local level success, which we really enjoyed. We got to play with a lot of our childhood heroes, and we even got to tour a little bit. It was lots of fun. Maybe I'll throw some visuals up on the screen, I don't know yet, but It was really enjoyable, and I think we were getting to the point where we were starting to take it more seriously. All of a sudden, money was being allocated towards future endeavors in large swaths. It was paying for flights, it was paying for recording studio time, it was paying for assets and art and digital distribution and everything that you could assume happens on the back end for any kind of artist. And I mean, at some point you've got to accept that all of these things are just part of making something a business or trying to make something a commodity. But where that step too far happened, I think, is when it started to bleed into the foundation of it, the actual music. All of a sudden it wasn't about creating for creation's sake. It was about trying to see into the future and predict whether or not people would enjoy it, or look at the trends and base what we were creating off what other people were already enjoying. And I think unknowingly it sucked a lot of the fun out. Initially it actually amplified it because we were getting better responses from what we were creating using this new criteria of creation. But eventually it really sucked a lot of the soul out of it, for me particularly. And maybe that was just part of the process that I was never cut out for. But it felt like near the end of my time in the band that there was nothing really left but a sort of resentment for the entire process. And that was born out of the perceived obligation of having to create. Creating was now an obligation, no longer a passion. And so that's why I say obligation is the death of passion. And bringing us back to the present now, I think that has impacted a lot of the way that I view any creative pursuit that I'm a part of. Even down to something as simple as making this video. I really just wanted to share how I was feeling, but it was really hard to actually bring myself to do it because I was overwhelmed by ideas of how I should visualize it, or how it should sound, or how it should appear to the audience, which obviously you've got to care about what you're creating, but I think at the end of the day it should be for yourself, and the focus should definitely not always primarily be on the people who are going to consume it. And taking it one step further, I think we should all put a little bit of work into disconnecting self-expression from the idea of creation and consumption. And by removing this connection, I think you remove the possibility of any sort of external obligation, and it becomes, once again, a purely internally motivated, passion-driven endeavor. Alright, that's sort of all I've got, so I guess that's my final challenge to you, is to just create for the sake of it. It's my challenge to myself. Thanks for listening. Hope you got something out of this, and I'll catch you later.